Hey there YouTube, welcome back to my video. Today we will be going through the character that most people are actually hyping up this week. But as usual, before we get into that, if you enjoy my content today, do consider liking the video and of course subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And you can also actually hit up the membership button, which is the join button right there, to enjoy additional perks and benefits. Which reminds me, we actually has a new member this week, which is Coleman. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. But anyway, thank you again so much for subscribing to my membership. Thank you for your support very much. Alright, so we'll be getting into the character that will be featured tomorrow. First of all, it will be Barret. Barret essentially just get a little bit upgrade on his skill 1 and skill 2, but it still kind of sucks, to be honest. Not the best damage output from his base skill. He does still have a decent aura, but his problem still persists as a character. One of the first thing is that the fact that he actually has to use 2 of his LD to actually gain the maximum stacks of his aura. His aura is actually pretty decent. 100% critical rate is what I really like to the entire party, solely on the fact that we'll be getting more of the max bravery floor bosses, sort of like Brother Spiritus, which features Tidus FR, which brings me to say that Barret actually can work well with Tifa, in the sense where Tifa actually requires single target and critical rate, 100% critical rate when fulfilling her FR condition. And Barret, although doesn't have a lot of single target attack, he does have very good, very powerful 100% crit rate to all the entire party. So in that sense, he actually helped Tifa when the boss has max bravery floor, like I mentioned. So aside from those, you can actually boost Barret's attack, especially his LD, since his LD is really, I would say strong, but only 1 bravery attack for each HP dumps. He has 10 HP dumps, which is huge, but like I said, only 1 bravery attack. So to maximize it, you actually want unit like Preach or Cage LD to actually maximize that damage. Otherwise, you can actually use Barret as a call itself, since his call actually provides the entire party the crit rate 100%. Although the call only lasts for 3 turns, so you might want to put it at a slow unit, but it's still a really good call in my opinion, although the bravery damage is really not that significant anymore. Anyway, like I said before, the worst part about using Barret is you have to use 2 of his freaking LD to gain up the maximum stacks of his LD buff. And the fact that his base skill kind of sucks, which means that you're stuck to only using his base skill after his LD is depleted from using it early on to gain the maximum stacks. So a little bit troublesome to run him there. Hopefully they can actually fix him by actually give him more LD usage at least, or actually have his buff started at a relatively easier to manage level. But anyway, that's my opinion on Barret. Moving on from Barret, we'll be getting Tidus, which is the main prize or main focus of the banner. Tidus skill 1 and skill 2 both have more HP dumps right now, just extra 1 more. But the best part is actually his follow-up also gaining extra HP dumps from not just the first and the second stacks, but also his Jack Shot, which go up to 3 single target HP attack, and of course 80% splash to non-targets, which is really good considering all the utilities and the turn hogging he has. He also get a little bit rework on his crystal level 85 passive, which allows Tidus to hit harder. But really all you need to know is he does have more damage right now. As compared to before, he has more brave gain. Unless you're a Snowball Flow user, then you'll like him a lot because he get additional 40% brave gain up and 40% stolen and gain over follow up, which is huge and essential actually for Snowball Flow runs. And if you're running him in the upcoming unit, you can actually try to Snowball Flow him because of the fact that his synergy, which makes him a lot easier to do it. Anyway, moving on from those reworks, he actually get a new weapon as well, which is the FR weapon. But sadly, Tidus FR weapon is actually not the best. From what you can see, the first condition is relatively easy to fulfill, which is attacking a debuff enemy. And with Tidus in the party, essentially the enemy will always be debuffed unless they are immune to the debuff that he has. So that itself actually makes it relatively easy to fulfill. But the second condition requires you to use an instant turn rate skill. So essentially, the only skill that Tidus can actually use to fulfill his own FR condition is his skill 1, his additional ability, his LD, and of course his FR during his burst phase, since FR echoes is not really a thing yet right now. But judging from that fact itself, using the idea that he has 7 turns in BT and he can only use his LD once, including the 2 free skill that he gets if he uses his LD prior to his BT, he'll get at least 4 usage of his skill 1, 1 usage of his LD, 1 additional ability, and then you can finish up with his FR. But like I said, you want to use his EX because that is his strongest attack aside from his LD and his FR, of course. But the problem with his own FR is his EX actually only fulfill one of the condition. Since it's not an instant turn rate attack, do know that even if you're taking consecutive turns in burst phase, it still doesn't fulfill that condition since you're not using an instant turn rate skill. So yeah, that part is really sad, especially all things consider that is actually the essential part of fulfilling his FR, since that actually increased more for the HP damage bonus up. And even if you do completely fulfill all of his condition, the sad part, or should I say the saddest part of all this, is actually the fact that he only adds up to 45%, not including using of which skill you use, of course. If you use his skill 1 during synergy, then he'll add up to 50%, etc. and etc. But like I said, the worst part is he doesn't increase a lot if you consider that you are used to seeing big HP damage bonus like Cam's FR. That is also one of the particular reason why people actually use Tidus with Cam, because Cam FR condition is significantly higher with the HP damage bonus up. That's why Tidus and Cam is such a popular pick, because Tidus can handle most of the DPT, whereas Cam can handle the FR condition, the FR boost. So that pairing is very popular and can be used until even later down the line. Very high longevity overall. But like I said, if you already have Tidus max kit, actually BC mentioned about this, which you can actually consider skipping Tidus FR until later down the line, because his FR is not exactly the button you press very often. But then again, in the situation where you don't want to have to wait till later, and of course if you want to maximize Tidus overall damage during his burst phase and everything and giving him better stats, then you can consider pulling his FR now, since his FR echoes later down the line is going to be a thing, and then having instant turn rate is easier for you to spam 2 FR echoes back to back while you're inactive with other FR. So that part itself may be good, or should I say may be future viable, considering how good Terra is right now in my opinion. Anyway, moving on from the FR department, like I said before, Tidus is extremely high DPT overall, considering that he has 2 follow-ups when his BT is active, BT effect is active. So with that in mind, he can range from 6 to 9 HP dumps per action. If you average up together using just his skill 1, he can actually have an average between 6 to 7 HP dumps just using his skill 1 alone. So judging from the fact that he actually turn Hawks, having this enormous amount of HP dumps is actually a really huge deal for a DPT unit. And he's actually very easy to play with. The only buff that you want to keep in mind is his own buff, which is the Chill buff, if I recall correctly. And to actually maintain that buff, you can just use his EX or use some skill extension, which is available from his own LD and his additional ability. And since his LD provides 2 free turns, if you use it on his additional ability, you can extend your skill up to 4 turns consecutively. So it's not really a hard thing to miss out on, I guess. But for those who's not used to playing Tidus, then you might actually need to pay extra attention to that. Again, Tidus and Machina are both very, very strong BT+. If you have one of them, it's relatively, I should say, more than enough for you to carry on until later down the game. But if you want both of them like me, then it's not really a big issue as well. So I personally just gonna go for Tidus, although I got really bored from playing him because it's just clicking buttons, turn hogging, and then re-breaking and everything else. It's just very one dimension when you play him, since his skill is very basic. Regardless, if you're running with Tidus and then you're running with Cam's FR, naturally the best friend with Tidus, for the third party member slot in, whether if you're using someone from your own party or someone from the friend support, then it's gonna be a link attacker like Kayn, Freya, Cissnei. All these are very prime example, with Kayn and Cissnei being more popular because of the fact that actually deal a lot of damage right now. If you consider Kayn or if you consider Cissnei having 3 HP dumps from Tidus on attack, he can go up to 12 HP dumps including Cissnei's attack, which is really a big damage. So that part you might want to take into consideration. And of course, if you're using Tidus on FR, you can even go with Tidus, Kayn, and Cissnei, like all 3 units that actually benefits from Tidus follow-up attack or Tidus turn hogging attack. So all things considered, he can do a lot more with him taking this many turns. Although do take note that even if you're taking FR out of the equation, Tidus does have a little bit issue on longevity if you're just gonna spam all his turn hogging skills rather quickly, I guess. But yeah, I think Tidus overall is still a very good unit, and he still have very good longevity if you're not just spamming all his skills like hearing shooter going on and on and on. So yeah, I think Tidus overall, this banner is actually very high priority if you ask me, especially if you don't have Tidus kit. If you have his kit, you can consider skip his FR and then wait for later when FR Echo is a thing. Although do know that I don't know when he will get his rerun of his own FR. So if you want to max him to have fun with him, of course, you don't need his FR for him to be really good. You just need his BT plus. And if you don't have his BT plus, then no, don't build him at all because he sucks without his BT plus. He needs that BT plus. He doesn't need that FR, but he does need that BT. So anyway, I guess most of you people are actually pulling for Tidus given how popular he is and how hype he is given right now. So I guess I don't need to actually ask anyone about your pulls since I know most will go for him anyway. Anyway guys, I will pull for him on my main account. Hopefully I can snag Cam's BT along the way since I don't have it yet and I already fully built Cam's FR. Quick news, I do get another Cam's dupe FR during my free daily. So oh my god, right guys, right? Like what in the actual luck? I just hope I don't use them all up before Tidus, and even after Tidus I actually want to pull a lot of units like Fujin for example. Man, Fujin gave me nightmare because she actually makes me pity her LD. So hopefully she doesn't create the same scenario for her FR. Anyway, I'm thinking too far right now. So that's my plan for now, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you again so much. Cheers.